Hello everyone, welcome back to the Play On podcast football edition. In this part, myself and Luke are going to talk about the Ulster Final, which took place between Monaghan and Tyrone. Tyrone winning the game by 16 points to 15 points, and a first Ulster title in Brian Dooher and Fergal Logan's first year in charge of the Tyrone senior footballers. A crazy game in which both teams seemed to have 15 outfield players, Beggan and Niall Morgan, really doing some crazy stuff. Roy Beggan nearly scored a point from play, which was outrageous. Luke, what did you make of this game?
Yeah, look, I think it's kind of remarkable, I suppose, to start up talking about a game where the first thing we talk about is the goalkeepers. Don't really know where else we can start about this one. I think it was just the last kind of 15 minutes were just surreal watching it a bit, and I'd be curious what you think about it. But I thought it was kind of madness, really, and it nearly kind of seemed like it was two goalkeepers just trying to outdo each other nearly for a bit. And surely this kind of I felt like this couldn't have been planned for, and it couldn't have been a tactic that was prepped before the game. And some of the decisions that just didn't even seem to make sense really by the goalkeeper. So curious what you think about it.
Yeah, I found it baffling as well. I think Niall Morgan has always kind of struck me as a bit of a loose cannon. Like he seems to have a bit of a wild side to him. To see him closing down Rory Beggan's short kick out option was just bizarre. Like, who decides that? Like, does Niall Morgan just decide he's just going to run out, or has Brian Dooher actually gone to him and said, "Yeah, we want you to run all the way up to stop Rory Beggan kicking a short one"? Absolutely mental. But then again, someone with new ideas is labelled a madman until them new ideas prove to be correct. So Morgan, you remember Graham Brody a few years ago? He was the first goalkeeper to kind of be comfortable coming out of the goal and coming all the way out to the middle of the pitch. And it looked bizarre back then. And that's only in 2018. And now it's so common. Every team's goalkeeper has to be comfortable on the ball. This might become a trend. Beggan and Morgan, I think you're absolutely right. I think they were trying to outdo each other, especially with the free taking as well. It was goalkeeper against goalkeeper. Personally, I think Rory Beggan had a better game than Niall Morgan. I think Beggan's free taking again was fantastic. Monaghan, I think they'll be very disappointed that they didn't win this game. I think it was there for them. Tyrone had the COVID absentees, Tiernan McCann, Rory Brennan and Frank Burns. They're all three potential starters. So that was a blow to them. And yeah, to think how poorly Monaghan played in the first half. In the first half, they were absolutely dreadful, in my opinion. They didn't arrive at the pitch of the game at all. Coming into the game with 11 goals in 6 games prior to this game. And they didn't look anywhere like scoring a goal in that first half. They woke up in the second half. They pulled themselves back into the game, but their poor first half cost them.
Yeah, look, I suppose just to go back to it briefly, I don't want to go on too much about the goalkeeper, but I was so frustrated kind of watching Monaghan in the last 10 minutes with the kind of the tactics of Beggan as well. And I know everybody was saying how entertaining it was, how he was making like last-ditch tackles and stuff as well, but it just made no sense to me whatsoever. And I thought it was nearly disrupting their shape more than it was doing any benefit. I thought it was there was a kick. Niall Morgan was kicking kickouts that were clearing Beggan's head and stuff. They were taking him out of play, and he's the goalkeeper. So, people were saying that, look, he's the extra man and he can go out there. But no, but what actually happens here is that Beggan was being taken out of play and that the ball was going past him as well and stuff. And that what has to happen then is a cornerback has to drop into the line, leaving a corner forward free. So it is disrupting the shape of the team even more as well. So surely that the logical thing for Monaghan to have done is that if you want to do this, the full court press, is that you move your goalkeeper out to cornerback, like the way Stephen Cluxton did against Tommy Walsh in the final. And then you've got a cornerback can move up a line, and then a halfback can move up a line. And then you've got a forward free up front to play as an extra forward who's capable of kicking scores himself unmarked, as opposed to having a goalkeeper coming up taking pot shots. So it's just it makes absolutely no sense to me. And I personally found it really, really frustrating actually watching the last 10 minutes because I thought it cost them the game in the end.
I agree with you. That when Beggan wasn't behind the ball, I think it created complete panic in the Monaghan defence. And I think him coming back and dispossessing Matty Donnelly, I think that kind of was the image of the game. But it became the Rory Beggan show. And for Monaghan, they need a structure to win there. Monaghan's best team was always, a structured, well-drilled unit. I think Beggan coming out and getting involved in the play is definitely, positive for Monaghan. But they seem to be kind of almost relying on him or something to kick the equalising score, which was baffling.
Like, can you imagine like a Jim Gavin-led Dublin team allowing their goalkeeper to come out and do what Beggan did in the remaining minutes of a provincial final that's in the balance? Kind of like, I can't see it happening. And it's just the last 10 minutes of the game seemed like two goalkeepers kind of with their egos kind of completely out of control nearly, and it was just surreal stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the part of the game where Monaghan lost, it was the second quarter. They went in 6-4 down at the water break, and at half time it was 11-6 to Tyrone. Like that's a big, they lost that quarter 5-2, having lost the first quarter, 6-4. So they didn't help themselves at all. Maddie Donnelly score on the 26th minute was the score of the game. Sol Connor Boyle with a fantastic dummy and then slotted it over the bar. Tyrone in the first half were doing really, really well at leaving space for their inside forwards. Mark Bradley, Maddie Donnelly, Darren McCurry, they were getting a lot of space. And the reason why Tyrone went a bit silent in the second half, especially in the third quarter where Monaghan really pulled them back, was because Monaghan pushed right up around the middle. They stopped the quality ball going into the Tyrone forwards. And what you saw then was McCurry went out of the game. Maddie Donnelly went out of the game because the quality of the ball into them was terrible compared to what it was in the first half when Monaghan were just letting Tyrone kick, nice, easy passes into them and making Tyrone look brilliant. The second half, they pushed right up, loads of pressure on them. And you're wondering when Monaghan do that, eventually pull back Tyrone to 12 points each. You're looking at that thinking, what took them so long to wake up? Why did they allow Tyrone to push ahead? Every manager knows that you don't let Tyrone just play this quality ball into Darren McCurry, who's in the form of his life, to Maddie Donnelly, who's in, arguably the form of his life. Push up, like stop letting them play this, nice casual ball in. Why did it take them to go 11-6 down to clock that, hey, let's stop letting them, kick whatever pass they like into their inside forwards?
Yeah, I suppose like it was kind of helped a little bit as well, but Tyrone kind of seemed to go a little bit more negative. And after playing some really, really good stuff in the first half, it was kind of a little bit frustrating that they seemed to kind of slow down the pace of their build up and everything as well considerably. And like I suppose that kind of anxiousness did help Monaghan get back into it, plus kind of coupled with a really kind of fast start to the second half. That Monaghan in the end were they just came up short, I suppose, in the end, kind of like because that last 10 minutes, I was kind of summed up in the last 3 minutes where they spent the entire additional time trying to dispossess Tyrone, but wouldn't fully push up enough to kind of dispossess them.
Well, Monaghan had a chance to equalise the game. Desi Ward's shot went wide. That was their best chance to equalise the game. It frustrated me watching why Monaghan wouldn't just go for it. Like, are you happy to lose by a point? Like, go for it. You've no time left. And Tyrone, they did the right thing. Make no mistake about it. I'm not criticising Tyrone here. Tyrone did the right thing. They managed the game brilliantly by hanging onto the ball. It's just something, even when Dublin won the All-Ireland in 2017, the way that Dublin just played the ball around, didn't let Mayo get a touch on the ball for the last 2 minutes. It's just not nice to watch. It's just like and the other part is that they're going to do it. They're going to do it. The second that a team gets 1 point on the board to eat into the lead, that, particularly when you're watching Dublin, that they're just going to get the ball and hold on to it for 3 minutes. And they don't care if they actually get a score at the end of it. The objective by doing this is to kill the momentum, slow the game down. And I think, like, if it isn't already like a problem for the sport, it will definitely become one, because teams will master that and they will just hang on to the ball for a ridiculous amount of time. And I think it will eventually have to be addressed by the GA.
Yeah, look, I'd still would be more critical of the team that is that's doing the defending than the team that's holding on to the ball, because like that's the thing, is that if a team is unwilling to kind of come out and take a risk and kind of go man for man on them a little bit more, then teams are just going to continue to pass it around, and that you shouldn't. A team probably shouldn't be punished for having the lion's share of possession, and that they have the lion's share of possession because one team has decided to set up far more negatively than the other. So Yeah, look, it's a tough one to kind of tackle, and I think maybe teams will slightly start to realise this isn't actually working. Like, look, Monaghan, it didn't work, and Tyrone just played out the clock as well. It's like sometimes teams do it against Dublin because they don't want to be like kind of hammered against them, and that they know if they open up that they will be kind of just carved open. So yeah, look, I don't think. I think though, as the competition progresses and we get to the semi-finals, I think we're going to see it less and less though going forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you believe that the better team won?
Yeah, ultimately, I think that I did think that Tyrone did enough. I think they were by far the better team in the first half, particularly kind of look at the forwards. Kind of Tom McCurry was excellent. He looks a constant threat, and as well going forward, kind of I think if you throw Tiernan McCann and Frank Burns back into that team, that it's a far stronger Tyrone outfit. And yeah, look, I think a Tyrone team with those players back in can definitely cause problems to Kerry going forward. So I think for the sake of the championship, I do think that the better team won, and that the team with the better chance of progressing in the next round did go through. So yeah, I do think so.
Yeah, 100%. I would back Tyrone much more to get a victory against Kerry than I would Monaghan. I think Monaghan set limitations for themselves almost, the way that they set up so negatively sometimes, and the way that they're so reliant on the goalkeeper. Like, they do have the young players and they will be better next year. Like, they're definitely in a stage of transition. But one of the key stages is this, could this be Conor McManus's swan song?
Yeah, I suppose it's an interesting one. Like I still think he's at the top of his game, and he still looks remarkably sharp. So yeah, I do think that he probably has a few more years left if he wants to keep going. So yeah, I suppose it'll be up to him. And look, I think he can keep playing as long as he wants to keep playing. So yeah, I wouldn't probably be too worried as a Monaghan fan that he'd be stepping away just right now.
Yeah. So for this year, anyway, Tyrone are Ulster champions once again for the first time since 2017. They beat Monaghan by 16 points to 15. That is me and Luke's match review done. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to look at our other match reviews of the weekend's action, and don't forget to look at our hurling content as well. Take care.